I've been making it out here in California for just a little bit, really just a little while. I got here in September of last year, so, you know, about some good months here, some solid months. But it hasn't even been a year yet. And already I'm starting down that path of, the California dream, right? People trying to make it, doing different things, having to make ends meet, not always having, proper shelter or, just not always having everything available, but still managing, still making it, and just being patient while continuing to keep going, continuing to push, and continuing to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And as I've been on this journey, I feel as though, many others who have been on this journey as well probably feel or have felt the same way as I do. And that's that, sometimes you start to go a little crazy. You want a life, or not want or desire, but you feel as though you deserve a life that you are not currently living. But you have to stay optimistic. You can't fall into despair. And you don't be pessimistic, but at the same time, you want to be realistic. You're idealistic, but you're still grounded in realism. So it's a very delicate balance. It's a very tight rope that we walk in. This thin ice can easily be cracked, and we can sink into despair. We can go into a downward spiral at any moment if we pause to really reflect and think, what? Is this life for me? But instead of doing that, I make the choice to think that this life is for me, to think that it's worth it, that everything in the end, it's all going to be worth it, all of it. And you know what? I feel as though that the mind can't tell the difference between reality and what we tell it. What we tell it becomes our reality. So the mind doesn't know you're struggling unless you tell it, right? So this is really just an episode of me reflecting and saying that if I don't tell my mind that I'm struggling, how will it know? If I don't tell my mind that this is hard, how will I know? How will it know? How will it react accordingly? But if I do tell my mind that I'm struggling, if I tell my mind it's hard, that I just day after day I don't want to do this anymore, then my mind's going to react accordingly. So instead, I focus on the positive. I say, I can do this. I'm strong. I am enduring. I have stamina. I am conditioned. I have strength. I am wealthy. I am prosperous. I am abundant. All these things. I just feed myself and feed that light wolf. You can either feed the light wolf or the dark wolf. One wolf is going to win out over the other in the end. But the one that wins is the one you feed. So I choose to feed the light wolf all the time, just every day. I'm feeding it, until all I think is just positive. But still, sometimes you got to recharge. So I go off, I get out of Dodge, I go into nature. And I've been picking different nature spots. And these days I've been going to Runyon Canyon, Eaton Canyon, all these different trails, these trail canyons that go off and this way, that way. And I feel like that's what I'm doing. It's like I'm climbing these mountains, physically and figuratively. I'm making my ascension. But you know what? I know that I'm not alone. I know that if you're listening to this right now, I know that you are an open-minded individual you should know that you are someone, if you have a dream as well, that you're going to make it. You're going to accomplish your dream. You're going to come out on top. You will come out, maybe not all the way unscathed. Maybe you'll have some bumps and bruises, like I got today when I was hiking. I tripped down a mountain and kind of scarred myself up a little bit. But that's what happens, right? We fall. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that we get back up. You remember the guy that fell and stayed down? No. Nobody remembers them. We remember the ones that got back up. We remember the ones that got back up despite not feeling like it. Despite falling down, they got back up again. Those are the ones that are remembered. And your legacy is all the lives that you have touched. The closest thing that we can get to immortality is in the memory of others. We live on. What will we do before we leave this earth? What will you do? What impact will you have? Will you give up, or will you keep going? Often it's the person right at the edge, right before they make it to the diamonds, when they stop pickaxing and they turn around. Often we are on the verge of our greatest achievements right at the moment we give up. So during those times when you feel like you don't want to go on, when you feel like you want to give up, when you feel like it's too much, it's too heavy, keep going. Trust me, the time will pass by anyway. Life will pass by anyway. If you do what you love, if you don't do what you love, if you love what you do, if you don't love what you do, if you hate your conditions, if you love your conditions, whatever you do in life, whatever you choose to do, your choice, the time will pass by anyway. You know, if we think of time, even though you don't have to, time waits for no man. It's not waiting. Life goes on. The world spins, the world turns. It spins on its axis, it rotates around the sun, it keeps going. It's not going to wait for you to decide, for you to make a choice. Whichever choice you make, the time will pass by anyway. So I encourage you to make a choice that you can live with. I encourage you to make a choice you won't regret. I encourage you to make a choice that is fulfilling, that is long-lasting, that is something that will not only put fruit on the tree, but something that will really be your purpose. Something that you can tell yourself at the end of your days that you went for it, that you did it, despite the odds, despite all the percentages of people who said that it couldn't be done, despite all of that, you still went for it. I know that's you. If you're listening to this right now, I know that it's you. You can do it. Believe that you can, like I believe in you. Thank you for listening. This has been Jerome Shaw on TOP, that is the Open Palm Podcast, here in North Hollywood, California. The open palm means harmony with the world, understanding our place in the world and using our skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. You know, I really appreciate you for listening to this episode tonight. I knew that I had to get this episode out to you because not only because I've made a commitment to myself and you that I will do an episode every single day, no matter what, but I knew that I had to get this out to you because I need this too. If you enjoy these episodes and you find it positive and you're impacted and you resonate with this and gain value, why not share it with a friend? Share it with somebody else who's going through a tough time or needs to hear an encouraging word. And if you really enjoy this podcast and you would like to support in some way, just by dropping a tip, just a tip like $1 or $5, however much you can, as if it was your bartender or waitress or someone who had given you value, definitely consider opening your browser right now and going to anchor.fm/jshaw, that is JSHAW, and supporting it there. That is much appreciated, my friend. And also taking even just a moment to give this a good rating on whatever platform you are choosing to listen to it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As always, my friend, have a blessed day or night wherever you are, and take care.